We want to begin by acknowledging that the land we're on is the traditional territory of the many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nation, Inuit, and Métis people. Luciana, you're a singer, a songwriter, a musician, a sound healer, a light worker. So it's really special to get to speak to you today about some of the tangible ways that self-care applies even to music.
Absolutely, yeah, and thanks for having me here with you.
For sure, for sure. I think that especially right now, there's a lot of barriers sometimes to engaging in self-care practices. And I think rightfully so. Sometimes we say, I'm not good at meditating, or I don't have the resources necessarily to make it a habit. So I really hope that, through this conversation, we can demystify some of these ideas of what it should look like and really kind of make it personal. But I think that really starts with self-love, right?
Yes, and I find that at times it can be a little confusing as to what is self-care, what is self-love, how do I start to integrate them into my life to better myself. For me, self-love is the deepest honoring of self, and to really give ourselves what we need from the standpoint of emotional, mental, physical well-being. It's all intertwined. So a big part of self-love is having boundaries, honoring yourself. And that is so challenging for so many people to create.
Yeah.
And so one of the tools that I started to implement that really began to transform how I connected with myself was creating healthy boundaries around people, around conversations, how I treated myself. All of that is self-love. And then these beautiful practices we can give ourselves is the self-care that nurtures the self-love. The bubble bath, the going for a walk in nature, the talking with a friend that's gonna lift you up, the use of essential oils, the meditations, going for a run, all of those are elements of caring for yourself, but loving yourself is a deep honoring of what you need.
That's beautiful. I think it's almost like if self-love is the goal, then self-care is the vehicle to help us get there. So I think mindfulness too is a really massive concept. How would you define mindfulness for yourself? Mindfulness is, for me, and from what I understand of it, the power of being present in the now. And there are many ways we can access that presence, and we call those mindfulness practices. And when you're in the present, you have more self-awareness, and that's what helps you feel the energy, notice how you're doing, so you can appropriately respond versus react when there's conversations that might be challenging, right? And that's why all these different forms of meditation are so useful, because we're all so different and we all connect differently with different modalities. So you've got, breathwork meditation, you've got sound healing meditation, you can do all these different guided meditations, and they're here to help you at different points of your journey, because also you're gonna evolve and shift and grow, and as that happens, your resonance with the practice shifts and you acquire new tools and all these different new practices that help you grow with where you've gotten to. For sure. I love that perspective that it can be versatile and different for everyone. And I also love what you said about resonance. That's a big word, because everything is a vibration. We're all resonating at a certain frequency. And in musical terms, resonance is when something vibrates at the same frequency as another thing. Like if you put two tuning forks beside each other, they will resonate together in tandem if they share the same vibration. And I wonder how that applies to us in our bodies. How do we resonate with sound?
Well, because we're made up of vibration, light, and frequency, as well as every other living thing here, we respond to sound. But more importantly,
human bodies were made up, depending on how old you are, from like 60 to 80% water. And so if you imagine, you drop a pebble into a lake, that little one pebble creates massive ripples out. So when you're listening to music and when you're receiving a sound bath, for example, it's creating vibrations within your physical being, which has water. So it's creating movement within you that's actually allowing you to have a response to sound. So as musicians, not only can we play with lyrics, we can even go a step further and curate frequency. So if we add different frequencies, then we're even creating deeper layers of vibrational healing for the human body and mind.
I think it's such a gift to get to share that, and we're gonna hear you share a sound bath today as well. And so to be aware of sort of what's happening internally as we're hearing these sounds, to be able to be actively listening, but also just kind of surrendering to the power that music and sound can actually, evoke in our own lives.
Yeah, our bodies are literally designed to give us so much of what we need. And we all have our breath, we all have our bodies, and we all have our voices. And those three things alone can provide us with so much peace, calm, and awareness. But I'd love to share with you now one of my favorite breathing tools. It's super simple. It's called box breathing.
Okay.
So I'm gonna lead you through something if you're open to it.
Let's go, let's box breathe.
All right. So all we're gonna do is breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And we'll be using counts of 4. So we'll be inhaling for 4 counts, holding the breath in for 4 counts, exhaling for 4 counts, holding the breath out for 4 counts. Okay,
BRB,
so
box breathing.
Yes, ideally, if you're gonna do this sitting, you have a nice tall spine, you're gonna close the eyes. And we'll breathe in now, in through the nose for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale from the mouth, 2, 3, 4. Hold it out, 2, 3, 4. Big breath in through the nose. Hold it in. Exhale out of the mouth. Notice how you feel. And open the eyes.
It's an instant shift in energy. So what's happening in my body when I'm doing that?
Similarly to if you were to just breathe in and out deeply into the lower belly, what we're doing is we're helping the mind and body access the parasympathetic nervous system. So helping ourselves get into that state of the rest and digest, so you can actually lower cortisol levels, lower the heart rate, lower the blood pressure. Like, our breath is this powerful tool. And if you practice that, I would say at least for 2 minutes, you'll really be doing powerful work for not just how you feel mentally, but actually physically, your health. And you have access to it, it's free.
Yeah, my breath is with me wherever I go. So that is such a valuable tool, and thank you so much for sharing that and all of the other valuable self-care tools that we can carry with us at all times. I really feel like it's demystified a little bit for me. So I appreciate you so much for being here, Luciana. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Wherever you are, close your eyes, breathe deeply, and listen to the sounds and my voice. wiggling your